instead of like this or this, it's both. And it's like I'm terrified and fucking excited. And also just from like a scientific standpoint, fear and like nervousness and excitement are all the same chemical reaction in the body. It's only how our mind perceives it. And so if you start to see fear as excitement or nervousness or resistance as excitement and start to reprogram that, you will start making actions and taking actions way faster, way fucking faster, because you will stop being basically controlled by your fear. And most people are.
Hi, I'm Ian.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome back, or welcome to
the Memory Millionaires podcast.
We are survivors of government service,
Cancer,
world travel,
and parenting. We're here to share stories and insights to help illuminate your path towards a happier, healthier lifestyle.
That sounds great.
So I'm finishing my clementine. Hope you guys don't mind.
No worries. I figured we could just chat and.
This is van life behind you, right?
Yeah.
You should.
I mean,
what do we? Because this is.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you guys. Are you in your?
Yeah, this
Are
is
you in your
this
bed?
is actually our house. We're in the
So
driveway.
dope. Here, I'll show you guys. Is this episode gonna be video? That'll be fun.
It'll be
We do some editing, so
All right, hold on. I'll give you a tour.
you can let us know
Yeah,
if you want us
please.
to.
Oh, there's Kurt.
Is that
That's
a
our ceiling.
printer chassis?
Yeah, it's a Sprinter.
Oh, God.
Well, clearly our van is a mess right now. I just had like
We have the
lunch, so-
same dish strainer or like collapsible thing.
This is our jam. I have a little like, I got all my little card decks and plants and shit, and our knives, our sink. We have to do dishes, but we're staying at our friend's place, so we're gonna use their dishwasher because it's just been cray. And then our bed, it's back there. Kurt's working.
But this is what we could have done the first time around when we did this, but we chose something monstrous. Well, it was cheap, actually, is why we chose.
We honestly did there's so many options with living on the road. We almost got a bus, like a short bus.
We were essentially in a bus.
Is that you guys?
A big bus. That was our first one.
Oh, nice. That's a big boy. That's a big boy.
It was 56 feet nose
Oh my
to
God.
tail.
Yeah,
And
that's like literally twice as long as ours.
What was it? It was 9 tons.
Yeah.
9 tons, like under your feet and in your hands.
Damn.
And
ours is like 24.
Safety.
Yeah. No, that's terrifying. I would not drive that personally.
Excuse me, I'm getting over something.
Oh, you're good.
So, how did you find her? Or did you find her?
I didn't find her.
Yeah. I found Sam on Instagram somehow. She just popped up.
I just listened to your last year's wrap up. Your Spotify has you like where to start is your 2023 recap. Like I wrote this in 2022 and listen to this. I got all those things.
Yeah.
And one of your complaints was my Instagram has no activity and it's just bullshit. And you found her via so it was like a reel.
There was a video of Sam dancing, and something about it activated me, and I was like, oh, who is this? And it was like, I want to be comfortable enough to dance like this. And I wasn't following you. I don't know how that came across my page, but then I started following you, and every time I saw something from Sam, it's like, what is it about her that just gets me a little like agitated and uncomfortable?
I love this.
And then eventually it's like, okay, this is a sign of something I need to work on in myself, is that this person who is clearly just living their life being the most authentic version of you, an expressed version of you, if every time I see her I'm feeling a certain way, I need to work on that. And Yeah, I reached out
said
to you. We did a session, and here we are 6 months later.
Yeah.
agitated. Is it like who is this that gets
Yeah,
the
who
dance?
does she think she is, that she can just dance in her short shorts and her like crop top on Ram, and and I
Now I'm trying to think of like accounts that I follow
yeah.
that I'm like, who the fuck?
Yeah. It just, every time I saw you, it was the same feeling. It's like, okay, what is this? Maybe I need to talk to this person.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's good. And because most people honestly go the opposite direction. But like when you lean in to the discomfort or the sensation, which you did, then it's like, oh my God, we're here now. And like the what you've created for yourself and all of the transformation you guys, well, both of you have had, but specifically you, Megan, because I know you so well, over the last 6 months has been insane, you know?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a huge shift, specifically in my mindset over the past 6 months. So
Yeah.
we call this the Memory Millionaires podcast. The the idea behind Memory Millionaires is creating wealth through experience. And
Love that.
we've been exploring the topic of living life on the fringe, some people call it, or, unconventional lifestyles. And when I thought of people that are living lives that aren't, your ordinary, what you see every day, I immediately thought of you. So if you don't mind just giving us a brief introduction to Sam, who you are, what whatever you want to share with us of your story.
Okay, cool. This is so fun. And I love this concept. You know what's funny about you being like, oh, I thought of you, is I actually didn't even realize how unconventional traveling the US in a van was until hearing that from so many people. And they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. I've always wanted to do that, or I wish I could do that. And then it made me realize how, oh my God, there is a lot of people right now who actually don't think this life is available
Right.
for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me want to do my work here even more, which is really creating limitless wealth, abundance, joy, freedom, like literally everything, like having everything. And so
On
yeah, I
that,
mean, yeah,
we when we were traveling in that bus like you saw us, and we had the same responses to us. People would say, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. I responded with, what's your budget? That's all I need to know. You can do it on any budget. We've seen people in vans. We've seen people in 2-story converted buses. We've seen all of it. And you can do it, especially with the infrastructure that's there now. Starlink, all this stuff, like it's easier than ever. But we didn't authorize ourselves for the last 5 years
Mm.
to do it. We didn't
yeah,
consider we could do it like we told others would do it whenever they wanted. We were
yeah,
giving all these little, like, oh, the boys have got to be out of diapers. Oh, they got to be
yeah,
able to walk. We need this much income per month. We need no, 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 nope, nope.
yeah. It's wild how, and there's a lot of people, like a lot of the people that I meet on the road are older and they've waited their whole life to live. And I'm like, no, I refuse to let that be my life personally. And I know you guys are similar because you're doing this too, but um, I think too, it's like when you realize that you're the only one getting in your own way and you're the only one that can change that and you're the only one that can create the life that you want, you stop telling yourself lies and you go out there and create it. And in my experience, every single time I've made some sort of like up level, whether it was like a financial up level where I had like more expenses or any up level, like money or any other resource always was there to support me. So like when we bought the van, I was like, I've never bought a brand new car. I've never like that's just never been in my desires because I don't know, it's just never been something I even cared about. Now that we have it, I'm like, I would never not. I'm so glad we did it. I'm so glad we did it when we did it. I'm so glad we just fucking said yes because every day that you don't say yes to what you want is another day you have to wait. But you're the one that's deciding that timeline, you know? So it's like actually realizing that if you want it, you will figure it out, make it happen, and it will always come together because it's always how it always does. Like 100% of the time it always works. You've survived your whole life up until now. And money always, I say too, like money expands to your needs and desires. So don't limit yourself. Just, oh, I can't afford it, or I need to wait till the money. No, start taking the action and assuming that the money is going to be there, and it will. It fucking 100% will show up all the time. 100% of the time, it always does. So,
Would you call
yeah,
it make messy action? Go forward with messy action is what I heard on your pod. And
yeah,
that was so clear. It's funny, it's messy action, but it's so clear that you go and you do and you screw it up
yeah,
on the way to figuring it out. Messy
yeah,
action.
totally. And honestly, I think that we are sold a lie, just like societally, right? Of like when we're kids, even we're sold the lie of like get married, have kids, have a white picket fence, get the job, retire, and then live, right? And like I mean, I think most people have done some version of that and then realized, and then the people that are crazy like us are like, what are we doing?
Mm.
This is what we want to do. We've been sold a fucking lie. I don't want that life, and it's not exciting. I created all the things I thought were going to make me happy, and I'm not. So I'm going to go create my own version of freedom. And so it really, I do think sometimes you have to get to that place where you're like, I should be happy, but I'm not. I gotta fuck around and find out. Just go make it happen.
Yeah, so when was that point for you that you decided I need to fuck around and find out?
Yeah.
Well, are we talking about the van specifically, or are we talking about like life?
I I'm thinking life, like
Yeah. Um,
Also,
I think it was,
mm,
yeah. I think for life, it was where I was in like my darkest moment, which was like early 2016, when I was in my 9 to 5 in architecture, and I had like the prestigious job. I got my master's degree, and
that's
my boss wanted to give me the architecture firm.
yeah.
And I was like 25 years old, and I was like, fuck that. I don't want this. This is literally my worst nightmare. I don't want to sit behind a computer all day. Like, I don't care if everyone else thinks this is great. Like, it's not great for me.
that's a
And so, yeah.
that
Yeah. And then no, I was just gonna say, like, I was just in a very dark headspace. Like, really, like, why am I even here? What the fuck's the point? Like, I definitely didn't have like the balls to end my life, but that's really like how much pain and suffering I was in because I was just working so hard for somebody else. Like, I was working like 60 to 80-hour weeks, and I was making 40K a year living in Boston, which basically costs at least 40K a year to live. Like, it wasn't like I had anything to show for it. And so, yeah, there was this one night where I was taking the train home, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I need to get the fuck out of here. And I don't know what that means, and I don't know what it looks like. Um, and that was kind of the beginning of my like awakening journey of like, I need to fucking figure it out. It's gonna get messy. And so I just started being like, what can I do to piece together some sort of income so I can survive? But I cannot do this anymore. And so I worked at the front desk of my gym for $11 an hour so I could get a free gym membership.
Mm.
And I did some freelance design work, and that got me through. And then it was like just trusting the next ping. I only knew what my life was going to look like for the next 2 months, but I was like, that's enough. I just need to know that. And then it was step by step by step by step. And then, personal trainer. I found the online coaching industry, started my online business in like 2017, went full time. I didn't really have like coaches or anything at the beginning, which I wish I did. So, Megan, I'm so glad that you're with me because I'm like, dude, you're sucking saving so much time and money and energy just trying to figure it out on yourself. I didn't know that business coaching or what we do. I mean, it's everything, right? But I didn't know like coaching was like really a thing. And so I spent like 3 years just telling myself, yep, I'm almost ready to be full time. I'm almost ready. But I never was actually ready. And then I went on a trip with my parents to Costa Rica, and I got really fucked up. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm escaping my life again. Oh my God. I was like, I need to do my own thing. And then that I got back from my trip. I told the gym I was quitting, and I went full time online. And that year I made 122K. I just went hard. Like, there was no option to not. And yeah, since then become a seven-figure brand and have worked with thousands of clients and are traveling and van lifing and all the things, but it was so fucking messy. I mean, it's still messy, let's be real. Like as you're scaling and growing and hiring team, I'm in this phase of my business, but you just don't know. That's why having mentorship, I think, is literally the most important thing. Like I will never not have that support because you're holding too much, there's too many unknowns and you need someone to reflect back that blind spot to you. And I'm not a self-made person. I will never say that. Like I have gotten so much support along the way and I would not change it at all.
Absolutely. That idea of being able to release the need to know what's coming next and just being open to the universe is going to provide the next opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's a big lesson that I've learned from you, seeing that you've grown yourself up to a seven-figure business. No, and you've been very open about the fact that you just kind of release this idea of needing to know what's happening next and being open to these unexpected opportunities. And this is the mindset I'm really working with now. Is I've always been the person that's needed a plan. Like, I want this plan, and almost getting to the point of anxiety when things don't go according to the plan, right? And this big lesson I've learned in the past few months with you is if I continue in that way, I'm going to be continually disappointed when things don't go according to plan. But if I can just release that in my desire to control things, opportunities are going to come up that I never could have imagined for myself. When I sit down and plan what could happen, there's no way I would come up with some of these things because they're not in my brain.
Yeah.
I enjoy hearing your story because it mirrors my story so much, and seeing that in 8 years what you've grown, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that you didn't have the mentorship when you began. And I decided very quickly I need help on this journey.
Yeah.
And
You're so smart. I wish I was as smart as you. When I'm like, what was I doing? I mean, I didn't know, right? You don't know what you don't know, but yeah, like really crazy just how it all unfolds,
It really provides this opportunity for rapid growth, like growth on a level that I couldn't have imagined.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you say rapid growth because I'm actually studying right now. I'm going to show you. I've talked to you so much about Ben Hardy and how he's been a big mentor for me in his books. I'm in his program right now, Rapid Transformation. This is his upcoming book that's coming out. But once I learned the difference between linear time, which is like results that make sense, and exponential time, basically, I was like, oh my God, we can actually collapse time. Like time is not real. What we think we can achieve in a year, we can achieve in a month. And so I just had evidence of that because I've already made my yearly salary from my 9 to 5 this month. What? That's collapsing time.
Yeah.
And soon I'm going to do it in a day. And then soon I'll do it in an hour, right? And like, how can you keep collapsing time and shorten the distance between how much time it takes you to do something by everything, all the work that we're doing together, of like actually realizing, wait, there's no rules. You don't have to play by the rules where you have to wait X years to charge blank or you have to do X, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. What do you want? What's that main outcome? And then start living from that place. And that has been what's collapsed everything because we're letting the future pull us rather than the past define us. And I think that reframe for me was like, my mind was like bending. I'm like, what? Like it makes you start thinking differently about your goals because you're not using logic anymore. You're using imagination. And who says that? I don't think it's Walt Disney. I think it's somebody like Einstein. Imagination is the most powerful tool. It's more important than knowledge. And I agree.
Yes.
So good.
He was sitting at a patent office making zero money while daydreaming about a clock moving through time and what would happen if it got closer to a black hole. But they didn't know it was a black hole. It was actually an error in math at the time. And so I just watched a whole thing about Einstein.
Ooh, that's fun.
Veritasium on YouTube has phenomenal exposés on some of the great minds. And he was sitting there imagining what would happen to a clock. He's just sitting he's just doodling in his mind basically, and he's like, "Ooh, let me write this down," and blows up. So, yeah, it's no joke. He imagined what we all now know to be fundamental.
And we learn from the time we're very young that time is this linear thing and that it's set and you can't change what time is.
It's funny, we're
right?
guilty of that as in our parenting. It's bedtime.
Yeah.
Bedtime. Even though he'll say, "It's light outside, Dad." Like, yeah, that's because it's summer.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not fixed then, is it?
Right. And
yeah,
it takes this almost like retraining of your brain to wrap your thoughts around the fact that we can collapse and change time.
Yeah.
And then when you start talking about this idea of creating new timelines and, taking a year and bringing it down to a month, then people think, okay, you're crazy. What are you talking about? You aren't normal. What you're doing
I would never want to be.
Right.
Like now that we've owned that, right? And we can be like, well, we're living in this lifestyle that's not normal. We are creating results that aren't normal. We have visions that are not normal, but that's why we'll do them. Because if we thought like everyone, there's no way we'd get to where we want to go. And I do think it requires a certain level of delusion, craziness, whatever, to be the 1%, to do the things, to create the $1 million, whatever it is, to have the life of complete freedom and wealth from the inside out is completely contrary to what we are taught. And so it's like actually breaking out of this like matrix that we're taught, having your own, like, whether it's a spiritual awakening or just an awakening to like, what am I doing? I can create anything. What? And then just fearlessly, there will be fear, but taking fear with you on the road to wherever you're going, because it's never going to go away. I'm rereading this book. I've read it like probably 5 times. The War of Art. You guys know this book?
Yeah.
Pressfield.
Yeah, so good. I just like sometimes will open to like a random chapter, and this morning I opened to one and it was like, it says the amateur believes he must first overcome his fear, then he can do his work. A professional knows that fear can never be overcome. He knows there is no such thing as a fearless warrior or a dread-free artist. I was like, imagine if everyone knew how to be with fear and recognize it's not resistance or fear or hesitation is not a sign that you shouldn't do something. It's often the path. It's often where you not should, but it's often where you're being called to go to stretch and grow.
Yeah, fear is a companion on this journey. If you're trying to get rid of that fear, you're going to be waiting forever before you do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
What was the last thing you enjoyed doing that you did fearlessly? Well, it was something you did at first that you were scared of. Ride a bike, swim, speak in front of people. You've now fostered a comfort level with it, but it started with a terrorizing kid on a bike. That's the tallest he's ever been, and he's moving at speed, and he's going to fall on his head. Swimming's terrifying when you don't know how.
Yeah.
Speaking,
It's funny. You guys I know, Megan, you've run a lot of races and have done a lot of miles. I don't know about you, Ian. But
half as much as her.
Okay. But still, it's a lot, right? Like more than, let's say, the average person. And so I've been an athlete basically my whole life, or at least have trained for things, and since starting van life, I haven't really been in training mode at all. Like I'm like, I go for a lot of walks. I do some trail runs here and there. We hike and I'll do some like body weight stuff, or I have like a pair of 20-pound dumbbells, but it's nothing crazy. And I recently was like getting this itch to push myself physically because like I push myself in all the other ways, but I haven't been pushing myself physically at all. And I know I'm sure you guys resonate with this. Like I get so much clarity. I feel so much better about myself when I'm training for something or I'm working towards something, whether it's in the gym or a race or I don't know. I really like having a goal to work towards, or else I'm just a floundering fish. And I'm like, I'll just like do some push-ups and like
That's
yeah,
to me.
yeah. So
I'm gonna come to the gym and just look at the dumbbells. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
no, I feel you. I feel you so hard. And it makes me, I think every high achiever has that feeling of like, I'm not operating at my fullest potential. How can I, how can I operate there? And so I was recently connected to this guy named Danny, and he is a, let's say, peak performance coach. He works with men and women on athletics and stuff. And I told him, I was like, look, I want to I want to train for something. I don't know what. And so he has this program. I'm pretty sure I'm going to join it. I just talked to him yesterday, but it's basically a 22-mile run through the Grand Tetons. And it's like a 12-week program. You know, you're training every day, whether it's running or body weight or whatever. And I really had to ask myself, and it's an investment, of course. It's also like group coaching and all this. So it's not just like, here's a run plan. And then you meet up in September and you do the run with everyone. There's like 10 or 15 of you, and you do the full run, 22 miles, and then you chill after and integrate. And I'm like, this sounds fucking epic. And then the second I was like, this is amazing, my little gremlins come in, right? And they're like, you really want to start training for a 22-mile race right now? Van life, your business is fucking exploding and you're hiring, you're doing all these things and all these other things, right? And but my highest self is like, yeah, but like when else am I going to do this? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there going to be a better time? No. Is there going to be a time where things are easier? No. No. It's like trusting the pull and trusting and leaning into that fear/resistance of like, but I've never run 22 miles. Like, I run for fun. Like, I run with my dog, and when he gets tired, I stop. Like, you know? And it's almost like I think we all have areas of our lives where we are in our comfort zone. And I recently was just examining where am I in my comfort zone, and it was so around fitness. And like I'm in shape, but I mean like I'm not in shape, you know? And I'm like, I want to feel and look and operate from that place. It feels so good for me. It's like biting into a fucking orange. Like I don't even know. It's so good. So I'm like, wow, to be able to find those little areas. I think everyone has some areas where, or maybe all areas of life, but like it's like start with one area, start to fine tune, start to lean in more and more and more. And then for me right now, I feel like I'm being supported by all the angles, but it was one of these things where I'm like, yeah, I actually really want to be pushed physically. No one's doing that for me. I'm not doing that for me. My dog is not doing that for me. Like, no one's going to be doing that for me unless I pay someone to do that for me. So it is pretty interesting how just needing the external accountability and the push and the check, yeah, it kind of goes back to the beginning of the investment piece, but there's still fear no matter what, no matter how many times you've invested. I've invested over like 250K in myself. Like, doesn't matter how many times, it's still scary.
Oh, I need to hear that.
Yeah. And you're talking about needing that, you need that external push to do something new and scary, and people might call you crazy for wanting to run 22 miles in the Tetons, right? And I started working with you specifically for creating my business and learning how to grow a business, and I've seen success there, but so much more of what is benefited myself and my family has been that knowledge of if not now, when, if I'm operating from this place of fear and saying, I need to overcome the fear, and I need to overcome all of this, I'm never going to accomplish anything. And I believe that if it wasn't for me joining the current and being with you and the other group of women that are having these conversations that they tie into business, but they're not about business at all, I wouldn't have told Ian, we need to stop making an excuse for doing this later, and we need to do it now. And I told him this at the beginning of March. I said, there's not going to be a great time. Baby's out of diapers. That would be great. But if we keep putting that off, soon we're going to have a kid that doesn't want to spend the time with us, you know?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for this group I'm in, you know, I don't know if I would have come to that realization of, we need to do this now. We need to stop fucking around and making excuses of something that we know is our dream. And we need to stop listening to all the people who are telling us, oh, but what are your kids going to do for school? And what are you going to do if you sell your house and you're going to need a house again? You're never going to be able to buy a house again. And all the other people's fears and insecurities and worries,
Yeah.
those aren't ours to carry. And it took a lot for me to stop carrying around other people's fears and realize, oh, that might be what is right for you and your family, but what is right for me and my family, I believe, is this choice of, let's go explore the world while we can.
Yeah.
You know, no, tomorrow's not guaranteed to any of us. So why are we putting it off? To have the house, to have, you know, 2 cars in the driveway. We can have that again someday if we want it, but now is the time. And that's what I keep telling anyone who talks to me about, well, I really want to do this, I really want to do that. Well, why not do it? What's stopping you from starting on that journey to running 22 miles right now?
Yeah.
People, we are all so good at making up excuses.
The resistance.
The resistance.
But the resistance isn't external. The resistance is internal. You are the expert in creating resistance between you and what you are excited about. You're excited about what it's going to feel like to run 22 miles in the Tetons. But then in comes the expert. Oh, hang on. I have this, and this supposed reason. Like, no. Listen, expert, we're excited about something. Can we go do something exciting for once? And same with the travel lifestyle. Oh no, we're excited to do that. That's why we keep talking about it. That's why we keep coming back to it. So these reasons aren't, they're not powerful enough. If you're honest with yourself, you want that thing more than you do these other little reasons.
Yeah. 100%. I feel like it's this, like, when you have the self-awareness, like you just had, Ian, of like that we can have multiple parts happening at the same time. Like there can be a part of us that's very fucking excited for the thing, and there's another part of us that's terrified, right? And when
Right
we
now, I have that about this lifestyle. I totally
right.
So that's a house that, you know, I fought hard to get. We sacrificed a lot to get. It was a milestone that everyone congratulates you on, you know, buys you new furniture and comes over for the housewarming party. And now I'm saying I want to sell it to someone else and you know, leave all that somewhere and like not give it credit. But I can give it credit. I can give it credit to, it's going to sell for more than I bought it for. So it's going to enable this lifestyle that I'd rather be doing. So it could be both. It could be both. Just like
and I think that's exactly the switch. It's like, instead of like this or this, it's both. And it's like, I'm terrified and fucking excited. And also just from like a scientific standpoint, fear and like nervousness and excitement are all the same chemical reaction in the body. It's only how our mind perceives it. And so if you start to see fear as excitement or nervousness or resistance as excitement and start to reprogram that, you will start making actions and taking actions way faster, way fucking faster, because you will stop being basically controlled by your fear. And most people are, which because we're not taught how to manage ourselves. And when we start to recognize, oh my God, we have been waiting. Who like it's like some people are just fucking waiting their whole life to live their life until someone comes with a silver platter and saves them from themselves. But only you can save yourself from yourself. And it's called personal responsibility. You have it up there on your little plaque up there. Personal responsibility. You have to take ownership for your fucking life. Nobody is coming to give you what you want. You literally have to create it. And I think that's the lie most people are sold. And it's really it's amazing. I'm excited because I'm like, cool, these are a bunch of people that we can help. And I know you do very similar work. So it's like, wow, there's so many people that are under a false impression that they are a victim to their circumstances, when in reality, they are the victor. They are the creator. And when you realize that everything you tell yourself, everything that you go do is the thing that's going to be responsible for your results, you'll stop dicking around, to put it bluntly. You'll stop telling yourself bullshit excuses and you'll just do it, you know? And it's having this like, I think we all have to get to some sort of rock bottom moment. Sometimes it takes people a loss, or like I had my rock bottom in my 9 to 5 or something. You have to endure some sort of pain to wake the fuck up and be like, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing? And so that's part of my big mission really, is like waking people up to how great life can be and how amazing life can be when they, first of all, change their mindset and their beliefs. And second of all, go after what they want and don't wait for it. Because like waiting is a fucking awful place to be. It feels like shit, anxiety, can't even go to sleep at night. Like, oh God, I'm just like, that is not it. And I think so many people are trapped in that programming. When we break out of that programming and we uninstall the programming, we put a new CD in your computer and we're like, look, this is what's available for you. Do you want it? Yeah, you do. Okay, cool. Now you have to start thinking like this. You have to start loving yourself. You have to start talking kindly to yourself. And you have to start going to put yourself out there, have conversations with people, use your voice, take up space, everything that we are taught the opposite to do, and start being the creator of your own life, you know?
Yeah. That's one of the big misfortunes of our education system, right? Is that we are taught how to perform to these standards of do these steps in order and get to this place and achieve this. And we're not taught the self-expression, self-love, expansive thinking, growth mindset. And, our education system was created in order to support the factory working system. And the fact that most of us, at least in America and a lot of other industrialized countries, we come out of the system and then, okay, I finished school. Well, I know the next step is I either go to college or I get a job. And then we have all these steps laid out in front of us, and most of us haven't been given the tools to think outside of that box and that straight path that we've been given.
Yeah.
And that's part of the desire to do what we're doing is, it took us into our late 20s, similar to you, to realize, oh, I don't have to be on this path. I don't have to get to the point where I'm going to this job every day that I hate for 20, 30 years, so that then I can retire and have fun. Realizing that we can show our kids from the time that they're very young that nothing is impossible. You can do anything. You want to be a paleontologist engineer.
That's what he says. He wants to be a paleontologist.
I love this.
Right?
Like, go for it, bud.
You want to be the YouTube Pokemon expert, whatever it is that you want to be. There is nothing that can stop you if you have it in here this is the mind development is what.
Well, and also the things we've instilled in them, that is doing it wrong is doing it right.
Oh, yeah.
That messy action.
Messy action.
Doing it wrong
Yes.
means you're learning.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that's the end. When you get on your bike and fall down, doing it wrong is doing it right. You're learning how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
What else is he working on? Math. Math is so frustrating to him when he doesn't know the answer to something, but he's done math working up to it.
Mm.
That's fine. You did it wrong to learn to do it right. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in school, doing it wrong is doing it wrong. Now
Right.
you've got an F. Now you got to be held back.
Yeah. And actually, I love that you said that, because I actually think that's one of the core beliefs that you have to change as an entrepreneur, because there's no rules. When you are doing your own thing, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's just, what do you want to do? And I was having a conversation actually with my team literally earlier today. And I said to them, I was like, I don't want to do it the way everyone else is fucking doing it. It's so boring to me. It's this. I hate it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we're going to do it this way. And that's how we're going to do it. And I would have literally never said that a few years ago, because I was like, what is the right way to do it? How do I do that? I didn't know how to think. Like, what? And when you go into entrepreneurship, it's kind of funny, because I feel like the first few years, unless obviously with mentorship, it's going to accelerate. But at the beginning, it's so much of, this is how to think. This is how to think about yourself. This is how to think about life. It's so much about mindset. It's so much about your relationship to things, relationship to business, to money, to your thoughts. And when you start to recognize, wait, there's no right answers. There's no one way to do things. There's a million ways to be successful. The only thing that's required really is that you love what you're doing, and that you love how you're doing it. Because if you don't do that, then you should just work a 9 to 5, because then at least you don't have all that responsibility doing something that you don't like, you know? Like Ben Hardy says, the means should be the end. And meaning you should be doing what you want to be doing at the end now, whether that's life or business. So if you want, like, the example I've been really riffing on is like, I'm going to be the #1 podcaster in the world and the #1 female speaker. I'm bet your ass I'm podcasting and speaking now. I'm not like waiting to be that until something, you know? So it's like doing the actions now, which means you have to kind of suck or not be that good at the beginning. And that requires an ego, a detachment from your ego, and showing up and having it be messy, which is why messy action is like totally my mantra. I should get that tattooed somewhere. But it's like willing to look not perfect, willing to look stupid, willing to take the first draft, willing to get up at the plate and not know what the fuck you're doing, but do it anyways, and then learn, you know? And I think a lot of people avoid that because they don't want to humiliate themselves. They don't want to be embarrassed. And when you realize there's no shame in going first, there's no shame in being a beginner, you will become an expert, but you have to be the beginner first.
So also this like environment where we see people who've risen to heights quickly, like you say, I made things happen in a month's time that usually happen in a year's time. Well, now if I'm not emotionally intelligent enough, I see that and are immediately dejected. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do that. How could I do that? Oh no,
Right.
here's the next Instagram reel of someone saying they did it in a day. Well, shit. Right. And you can get shut down by this accessibility of success stories, or recognize that's how much potential you have.
Yeah. Right. Which is what Megan was talking about, which is like the abundance mindset. Like it's either going to make you feel like, oh my God, this is possible for me, or like, oh my God, I'm going to be a failure for my whole life. And it's like when you realize that our mindset really is that black or white, it's like it's either expansive or it's going to constrict you. When you recognize that people's success is an invitation, you know, like when I saw that people could make $1 million in a day, that wasn't even a goal. Now I'm just like, that sounds fun. Let's try it. I'm like, what the fuck? That's insane to me. But
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah,
So why not?
when you asked at some point for us to say, how much money do you want to make a month? And I said, I want to make $5,000 a month. And you said, no, but really, how much? Like, how many zeros do you want to get? I was like, well, I've never considered that even a possibility, but now that I see that there is the potential that I could make $50,000 a month, well, why don't I shoot for why am I trying to make $5,000 a month when I could make $50,000 in a month? I'm putting the limit on myself, which I think so many people are just used to doing. Like, oh, well, this is the job I do, and this is how much I make doing this job.
Right.
Well,
And
that's not true.
yeah. And I think to your point, you don't know it's available until you know it's available.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why, like, if we're talking about like subconscious mind, right? Our subconscious mind can't imagine something unless it's seen it before. Like it literally needs evidence. So it has to either come from imagination, right? Or have the evidence to see, oh my God, somebody else has done that. And in like manifestation and mindset terms, um, the founder, her name's Lacey Phillips, she founded this school called To Be Magnetic, and it's like a manifestation school. And she calls these people or these experiences expanders, which basically helps your subconscious mind see a new possibility, to see there's an option. And when I'm so glad that now you've just jumped your goal to 50K a month, because the second I saw the $1 million in a day, I was like, why can't I do that? Why not? I don't know how long it's gonna take me. That's fucking cool. Like, what does that mean for me? What would that mean for our family? What would that mean for life? What would that mean for impact? How many lives would I actually help if I was making that much? What would my business structure be? Like it starts making you think bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it. So like why are we trying to struggle our way there? And I think this is like the ultimate hack, life hack, is like think bigger and get into bigger rooms that are having bigger conversations, because soon your 5K a month is going to feel like a dime, right? Because at one point in my life, 5K a month would have been fucking amazing. I'd be jumping up and down and twerking and dancing and so excited.
That train.
Right. And today, before 10 a.m., I made $5,000. Right. And so it's like, oh my God, how your standards, and I think that's the second part of this, is how does your standards continually rise as you see what's available for you? My new standard, my new minimum, and we talked about this, Megan, on our last call. What's your new standard? What's your new non-negotiable? What are you like no longer available for? And you start to you just tell the universe, I am not available for this anymore. Nothing less than this, nothing less than this, nothing. And you just keep raising that standard. That's how you grow. But
Yeah,
you got to be committed.
I've been saving that exercise to do with him because I
Oh,
think
so good.
and like, yeah, we need to make that list. These are our standards. We will not settle for these
Yeah.
things anymore.
Because I answered
Yeah.
the phone.
Well, it's just that I think most people spend a lot of their time. I don't want to call it a waste of time, but they spend a lot of time doing things that don't move the needle forward. It's the feelings of obligation or, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Well, is that what thing you're supposed to do or is expected of you? Is that doing anything to move you further towards your goal? A
Yeah.
lot of times, probably not. And I've realized without even doing the exercise, but just thinking, oh, there's so many things I do that I don't need to do them. I just feel the pressure from someone else that this is what I should do. This is how things should be done. Well, there's clear evidence of, that unlearning the way the things should be done is actually the right way to go.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it really is like giving yourself the permission slip to be like, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing it? But I honestly, I don't think, I mean, I had a conversation with someone, I had a single session with someone on Monday who's built an 8-figure brand, very successful business, she has 125,000 followers on Instagram. I think like 20 million downloads on her podcast, okay? And I did a session with her. I was asking her these types of questions that we're talking about. I was like, we were talking about her business and her products and what she was going to sell and whatever. I asked her simple questions like, do you really want to do that? Because I could tell like her energy wasn't really fully behind it. And I was like, why do you want to do that? It doesn't seem like you want to do that. She's like, shit, you're right. I don't. I'm doing it because it would be easy for me and everyone else would be happy. But I'm probably gonna be pissed at myself for doing it and not want to do it. And I'm like, cool. That one question literally just saved you 6 months of planning, probably 100K in investing in making this thing happen in so much energy that you can now pour into what you want to do. She wanted to host this event. I was like, so go host the event and go balls to the fucking walls because that's what you want to do. But I don't think people do that. I didn't do that honestly until, I mean, I've done it, but I have not really drilled down into it until this year. And that's why I've had such insane growth this year, is because I've been asking myself these bigger questions that are really hard to answer. And you have to keep iterating on them because the first goals I made, I was like, do I even want that? I don't even think I want that. What do I want? What do I really want? And then it came back to podcast speaking, other things. But I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like it was just wild to me how we need to ask ourselves bigger questions.
You
That
talk
like, yeah,
setting goals, and so many people set the goal, and then if they decide not to keep going for that goal, they're seen as a failure, or oh, I never follow through and I can't complete the goals I set for myself, and don't realize that maybe sometimes not accomplishing the goal is the thing, that's the most
yes,
important thing, is being
yes,
course correct and adjust your goals. And
yeah,
giving up on a goal isn't a failure. It actually can be a success
yeah,
if your goal changes something that's more aligned for you. But we're so
yeah,
often given this frame of, oh, you didn't accomplish that, and then you fail.
right. So
Again,
many people are chasing goals because of what other people think.
what if other people
If
think?
if I give up on this goal, what are they gonna think? Well, that's funny. There's like balloons.
Yeah.
What did that?
If it's the universe celebrating our conversation, I guess. But it's like the amount of times I've changed my goal and not made myself wrong is crazy. And it's like a fat permission slip. Like if something is no longer lighting you up or feeling exciting or feeling in alignment, just stop doing it and do not apologize to anyone. Because guess what? Those people that are micromanaging or studying your life, or like, first of all, there's actually way less people than we think doing that to our lives. But secondly, it's us. It's us that's making ourselves wrong. And that's the piece you have to break. Because if you had a kid who said, I want to start doing karate, who's 5 years old, he starts doing karate, and then he says, Mom, actually, I don't want to do karate anymore. I don't like it. Would you say, no, you got to do karate for the rest of your fucking life because you told me you wanted to do karate and you're committed and you're going to be a black belt and you're going to be the next Jackie Chan? Like, unless you're a psychopath parent, no, you're going to be like, well, do you want to give it a little bit more try, or do you really want to stop? And like ask the questions, which is what you do for yourself. Do you really not want this goal, or is it just hard? Like whatever. And then do that introspection. And then if you don't want to fucking do karate anymore, stop doing karate or whatever the thing is. But I think we have to be gentler with ourselves and like give ourselves more compassion around, wait, actually, I don't want to fucking do this and I don't care. Or actually, this isn't light me up in the way I thought it would. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm somebody who has to like try things to know if I actually want to do them.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's really annoying. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe all people are like that, where they have to try things in order to find out if they like them. Like, but at least try it, and then you can move on.
Yeah. I think we all, even those of us who know better, we hold ourselves back because of the fear of the unknown, the fear of the failure. And like you said, who actually out there is keeping track? Well, Megan said she was going to run a half marathon in 2 hours. No,
It's
but
so funny. I mean, I don't even remember my own goals sometimes, so I don't know how other people to put them on a sticky note.
stop and consider, well, who else has set goals that I've paid attention to,
Literally no one.
Yeah. So
Except you. I know your goals because I've invested in you. But like that's it. I mean, that's it. And I think then that just completely removes the, oh shit, what if I just focus on me and how I feel and how this feels and trust that and go hard on that and committed to that.
Thinking a lot about potential right now. We last talked on our podcast about potential and how we thought that was an expression of divinity, of what you could call God, because it's way beyond the self. It's way beyond what you are now. And one of the worst things you can say about someone is, oh, he's not living up to his potential.
Mm.
And that maybe that's what we wish for no one to say about us. However, we're the guilty party in whatever that means. When you're not, if I'm not living up to my potential and others see it, the error is not in them seeing it. The error is in me not allowing my potential, whether that's through performance in my athletics, how I show up. If you're the flakiest friend, that's already someone saying, man, I just wish you would show up. I wish you would just be in this space with me. That's not on me, the friend noticing. That's on the friend who's not giving their potential. So the authorization, even with a good coach, still comes from that internal person. Once they recognize the resistance, understand that that's just resistance. It's not real. It's not real. It's not valid. You have potential. You have so much potential. Get out of your own way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about it for me because I have these topics, the topics we talk about, whatever I'm like feeling passionate about are mostly things I'm dealing with. Like resistance is heavy on me right now. This shakeup in life, I'm putting up a lot of resistance internally for, but I have the emotional intelligence to recognize, ooh, that means it's probably something I should do. Because that resistance, the greater I'm putting on it, is probably because it's something I really want.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd say emotional intelligence is like right up there with mindset. It's like those two like really will make you unstoppable. And I feel like if we were to redefine the school system, that would be two very core pieces of curriculum that I would be putting into the school system. How to fucking feel your feelings and know how they work and how to use them to your advantage, and then how to change your mind, like how to completely transform your mindset. And then once you do those two things, as you do them, your life will change infinitely for the better. You will have everything you want and more, and you will be blown away by your ability to create a life way wilder than any Pinterest vision board or any magazine. You're going to be like, oh my God, what in the actual fuck is happening right now? Is this real? Yeah, it's real because you created it.
precisely.
That's what I get from you. I get that every time I consume any bit of you. You're just like, this is real.
Yeah. No, I'm still I do a lot of like gratitude practices. It still blows my mind. I still like, and I think that's I don't know. I see it as a good thing because I always want to stay in appreciation for it, because I think some people can lose that, and I really don't want to lose that. And Kurt and I do this practice called 2Ds, like gratitude, where we'll just like share our what we're grateful for. It could be each other, it could be the van, it could be Heffy, it could be whatever. Life. Oh, this cool park. We're at like a dog park right now that's like 3 acres. There's like a lake, there's hiking trails. It's gorgeous. It's the coolest dog park we've ever been to. And I'm like, it is a Thursday. we're at a dog park. It is so fucking cool. I'm podcasting with one of my favorite clients in her hubs, and I'm in the van, and what is happening? You know, like it's so cool to me.
Oh, we want to be respectful of your time and the fact that you've got this gorgeous dog park to be at. So,
We were there this morning. Heffy jumped in. He was so happy, like
oh,
the happiest dog. So
we like to have a call to action for our listeners on every episode. And when we have guests, I like to give them an opportunity to give our listeners a call to action. So, you know, it could be something that's influenced by our conversation today. It could be something just totally random, something that's going on in your life. But do you have any call to actions for our listeners?
yeah, I'll say two things. One is I'll give you like some of my free download things, like free trainings or whatever that your people can watch and plug into. So you can share those in like the show notes. But I would say one is do what we've been talking about, which is actually just ask yourself what you want. Like really, like the big outcome, the scary outcome, the outcome that you have no fucking idea how it's going to happen. And the second is find a coach. Find somebody who can help you get there because it's the fastest and easiest way to be happy, truly, and to find the fulfillment and lasting freedom and transform your life. Like it is quite simple, and just really focusing on that, focusing on you, focusing on yourself, and then getting the support. You know, go hire Megan, like hire me, whatever. Hire somebody who has skills and can get you to where you want to go. It's beyond worth it. The feeling, knowing that you're supported and that you have the pathway, it's like, it's everything. So that's what I want to leave everyone with is just like, go do the things. And then don't just say you're going to do them, but actually fucking put your ass on the line and do it.
That's perfect. I love that.
Reach your potential.
I think that's even a good call to action for us as we, I'm constantly doing this, but as we take this next step in our evolution as a family, what is that thing that
what do you really want?
What do
we really want?
Because we wanted this, now we have it. Now what do we really want this to do? So yeah, I appreciate that call to action.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear what comes up, and don't be afraid to iterate and draft, you guys, but everyone listening too. Like the first thing you come up with might actually not be the thing. So just like keep allowing yourself to draft, and maybe it's the 12th draft that actually is it. But marinate on it, sit with it, ask yourself why, and go be with yourself for it. And don't ask other people because they don't know. Nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And for anyone who's listening, what is the best way for them to consume more of Sam? Because your riffs are very inspirational. So
yes. Well, thank you. Come and hang out on the podcast, the Sam Altieri Show. I drop an episode every Tuesday. And Megan, you don't even know this, but I'm going to share it now because I just formalized it. But I obviously there's, you can inquire about masterminds and all that stuff, but I have a bunch of programs. But we're coming out with this really cool, it's like a membership, but it's like a private podcast feed of all my riffs. So it's going to be called Fuck Around and Find Out with Sam Altieri. And it's literally all these crazy wild stories. It's activations, it's riffs, it's reminding you who the fuck you are, reminding you what you're capable of.
Is it already on Spotify or
no, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
There'll be some sort of community attached to it, but it's really a space to just get lit up, and recognize like, dude, life is magic if you see it. Like open your eyes, like look around, recognize how much abundance there is. So it's gonna be fun too. We're gonna get like wild, probably, who knows what's gonna go on, but that's why it's called Fuck Around and Find Out, because I don't even know what it's gonna be. I'm just gonna let it take me.
I know the things that happen inside the current, and sometimes there's conversations about queefing, and sometimes there's conversations about, who knows?
Who knows?
Brought up.
Who knows?
That's your most memorable.
I mean,
like,
well, I mean, the full spectrum of the human, right? If you can't show up in a coaching space talking about anything, then you're not in the right coaching space.
Queens and weaving.
Yeah. Yep.
All
I
right.
love it. Thank you guys for having me on. This has been super fun. You guys are great together. I love like the duo.
Thanks. It's been a fun evolution in our relationship. We started out
As drinking buddies.
as drinking buddies and making beer vlogs back in
Yo, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
2011, 2012.
I'll link some.
Yeah.
Is there like a podcast on this, like a story, or you need to make an Instagram post? Like my husband and I were making videos on beer and drinking together, and now we're talking about
Okay.
transformational growth and
Do that.
show. That's so good.
Yeah,
We could do that.
that's a big evolution from drinking
Yeah.
all day and just chasing breweries to what we're doing now. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah, that's great.
should.
I match you on the like from blacking out in Vegas to helping people transform their lives, like we all have those moments. We gotta be proud of them.
Exactly my story.
Oh, so funny. Well, thank you guys again. This is a blast. I'm excited to hear it back.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for your time.
Of course. Thank you guys. I'll see you soon.
Talk to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, don't go. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and share via review or post how this episode complemented your life.
Thank you for listening. Connect with us on Instagram or Facebook at Memory Millionaires.
Be well.